Hello, hello. This is Kim Addis from Frame of Mind Coaching, and you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast. So this is part 2 of a series we started last week with Rosa Collado, where she gave me this amazing gift of inviting me to coach her live and in person on this podcast. Last week, we talked about her business, her real estate business, and she had some decisions to make about whether or not, as a real estate professional, she wanted to grow her team or go solo. We gave her a lot of clarity on that. And this week, we decided to continue talking about her personal life. Rosa, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again, Kim. I'm excited.
So I want to explore this whole thing because you dropped a note in my ear or a bug in my ear and you said, hey, I'm really busy. I'm a professional. I'm a successful real estate agent, but there are some things that I really, really want in this world. I really want to be married and I really want to have kids.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about where you're at with that. Are you seeing anyone? Were you seeing anyone? Tell me a little bit about your relationship history.
All right. So I am not seeing anyone right now. I am in multiple online, I have my profile on a few online apps. And prior to that, I have been single for the last 7 years. And prior to that, I was actually with someone for 10 years. And that was not a healthy relationship. It was an abusive relationship, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I want to now is really last 2 years ago is when I decided that I actually want to get married and try this again and really look for the right person.
Okay, so were you single by design? In other words, you chose, you said like, hey, I don't want to be in a relationship?
I did, just because it was 10 years in that really unhealthy relationship. So I was nervous and I started I got with him from the age of 17 to 28. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go out and just live it up and just have fun. And here I am, 35. And I'm like, at 33 is when I said, whoa, okay, I probably should start looking.
Okay, and what's that been like? What's the looking experience like?
Very interesting.
Like you're beautiful, you're successful. So what's getting in the way?
What's getting in the way? I want to say it's probably me. So I'll date a guy or meet him, but for me, automatically, I would have a conversation where I'm asking questions to discover, is this person like a psycho? Or I would just start putting things in my head, like, oh, I don't know if this guy is the one. He's not as successful, or look where he's living. And I start asking questions about his childhood to kind of determine who he is versus just letting them kind of just let it evolve over time. So now I started doing that. And for me, it's like, if I feel like, okay, this person and I might potentially do something, I'm going to just start running away because I'm fearful that I'm going to get back into that 10-year relationship again.
Okay, so I have a bunch of questions now. So you meet someone, you're kind of attracted. I don't know if you are.
Yes.
And then you start not only asking questions, but questioning. And really what you're doing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is you're looking for all the reasons why he's not the right guy.
Correct.
Okay, interesting, right? So there's this thing in coaching, right, where you always find what you're looking for. Like, I've been married to my second husband for nearly 12 years. And if you ask me to find all the reasons he's not a right fit after 12 years, I could probably find them. Even though he's like the most amazing husband and guy, because I always find what I'm looking for.
That's interesting.
I always find what I'm looking for. And so I want you to start to think about what you're actually looking for and write it down. So what am I looking for? Not what are the red flags, not what is not a fit for me, not what is not successful enough, but what am I actually looking for? Because when you start to figure out, when you identify what you're looking for, you're much more likely to see it. You must have heard this expression that if I say, hey, did you notice there are a whole bunch of red cars on the road? 5 minutes ago, you probably would have said, I know, I never noticed. But the minute you step outside, you'll say, oh my God, she's right. There are all these red cars. because you're noticing what you're looking for. Okay.
Mm.
So right now you're looking for the reasons why not. Now, why do you actually do that? You do that because you're afraid. You're afraid to repeat an old pattern. You're afraid to step into a relationship and get stuck in it for another 10 years and experience a negative experience. Maybe abuse, maybe, you know, neglect, maybe whatever it is. Maybe you're pouring all your love, your heart and soul into someone who's not appreciating you.
Mm.
And so you're not walking in with open arms. You're walking in with a screen in front of you. And the screen has little holes that make it very hard for someone to penetrate, for someone to come in. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yes, this is great. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Like, does that make sense to you? And so the question is, so you've had this bad experience, and it's pretty understandable why you wouldn't want to have that bad experience. But like, how did that experience impact you? Like, how did it affect you?
So, I mean, now in a positive way, because I like to look
No,
at it.
not in a positive way. Just how did it affect you?
Well, it cut me off from being with my family. So for 10 years, I was not a part of my mom's life, my brother's life. I had zero friends, so no friends to talk to. I really didn't like the job that I was in. So I wanted to do real estate since I was 18, since I met him, and he caught me off from real estate. So that to me is just taking my whole identity was taken away from me.
So if that's the experience, and now your career and your professional life is so important to you, what you're doing is you're walking into the potential of a relationship protecting yourself, right? You're kind of going like this. You're not allowed to take my identity. You're not allowed to take my family. You're not allowed to take my friends. You're not allowed to take my career. So
Mm-hmm.
prove that you won't do that, right?
Yeah.
And it's really hard for anyone to do that. It's really hard for someone to come in because you're literally like not letting them in. So the question is this: when you think about a relationship, do you think it's possible to be in a relationship with someone that actually supports your career and loves your family and your friends?
I'm sure they are. I'm just, my mind doesn't see it right now. It's just really hard too.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an assignment. Okay.
Okay.
And it's a journaling assignment. Everybody knows that I always ask my clients to journal. And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself a question. What do I believe to be true about a relationship for me? And I want you to write down everything you believe to be true. So you might write down, I believe there's no one out there for me. Or you might believe, I believe there's someone out there for me, but he's really hard to find. Or you might believe, I believe that in order to have a great relationship, I need to make sacrifices. And I'm not sure I want to make some of these sacrifices. So I want you to write down all of the beliefs that you
Okay.
have. Because in that list of beliefs, you'll find some things that maybe we might like to challenge. I have a feeling the sacrifice thing is the one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That is a huge one.
Right. So if you feel like in order to have a great relationship, you have to bend a lot, your personality, your identity, your family, like you have to give to the point of almost disappearing,
Mm-hmm.
it's normal that you would be protective. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Right.
That is how I feel.
Okay. So I want you to write about that. I want you to journal about that and explore this whole thing about what is it that I feel that I'm going to have to sacrifice in order to get married and have kids.
Great. Thank you. I'm just writing all this down.
Okay, so and that's going to open the door for us to explore more what's really getting in your way of meeting the right person.
Awesome. This is great.
Okay,
Yes. Thank you.
Rosa, I actually want to have you back.
Wow.
And maybe even have a part 3 and read your journal with everybody and see where we go from here, if you're open to it.
I am open to it. This is also holds me accountable not to run from this because this is really important to me.
Okay, so do the journaling and we'll schedule the next podcast together.
Yeah, let's do it.
Rosa, I can't tell you how thrilled I am that you decided to step up and put up your hand and say, I'll do this with you. It was so much fun for me. And I'm hoping that you walked away with value, but also I'm hoping that the listeners walked away learning something, maybe a little reflection, and just enjoying getting to know Rosa, because I sure did.
Thank you, Kim. I enjoy this. I took a page of notes here and I really appreciate you. And you brought me a lot of clarity just because I never really sat down and looked at it that way, where it's like, what is it that you're holding back? And I love journaling. So doing this and asking this specific question, I believe will be very helpful for me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Again, if anyone's interested in finding Rosa, where do they find you?
You can call me directly at 917-833-0582, or you can send me an email at sold, SOLD, by, BY, Rosa, ROSA, the letter C, at gmail.com. Or you can find me on all social media just with Rosa M. Collado. And on Instagram, I'm Rosa Motivated 1.
Ooh, I like that. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you again.
Thank you.